Hello everyone and welcome to Transatlantic Watch Party, a movie podcast in which Dan in Canada and myself, Cara, in the UK watch a movie separately and then get together to discuss it. And this week we will be discussing 1992's The Player, directed by Robert Altman, adapted from his own novel by Michael Tolkien. And we got here through Jeff Goldblum from Hotel Artemis. And this film was nominated for 3 Oscars: Best Director, Best Adapted Screenplay, and Best Editing.
We open outside San Quentin.
The Graduate, Part 2. And Mrs. Robinson had a stroke, so she can't talk.
It's gonna be funny?
Yeah, it'll be funny.
Griffin Mill is a hotshot studio executive.
Yes. Angelica, Griffin Mill.
Oh, hi.
Good to see you.
Malcolm McDowell.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, Bert.
Good to see you. How you doing?
He's heard every pitch.
That's exactly right. It's Out of Africa meets Pretty Woman.
He knows all the angles.
We're gonna have to have a little sex in this,
Oh,
Mr.
yeah, sure, of course. We'll get it there.
Slowly, he pushes her panties down to her knees.
And all the players.
We're the stars.
No stars.
No stars?
Bruce Willis.
I want Bruce Willis.
Not Bruce Willis, no Schwarzenegger.
Julia Roberts.
Now, he's about to star
How did this get here?
I think they're coming from a writer.
Hello, is David Kahane there, please? This is Griffin Mill.
Oh, the dead man.
in his most unforgettable story yet.
Stop all the postcards. I don't write postcards! I write postcards!
This is a tough story, a tragedy.
Not unlike Ghost meets Manchurian Candidate.
Certain that the anonymous threats he's been receiving are the work of David Kahane, producer Griffin Mill tries to fix things over cocktails. Instead, Griffin ends up murdering the screenwriter and courting the dead man's girlfriend. As police investigate, Griffin concentrates on a prestigious film that might reinvigorate his career, but he soon learns that David's demise hasn't been forgotten by everyone in Hollywood. That's not a great overview, I'm going to say. I just grabbed these
It
up.
makes it sound like a rather different film, doesn't it? Yeah.
Guys, it frames things so differently. It's like, this is the story, but I like, what prestigious film are they talking about? That might
They're talking about Habeas Corpus, which is not a prestigious film.
But they're presenting it that way, right? Okay, we'll get into it. We're already up to it. And it is a 90s movie, as I suspected, 1992. And I thought it felt very 90s. Like there's Jeff Goldblum, who you got us here through, is wearing a very 90s sweater in the one scene that he's in. And I guess the whole thing feels like 90s. You could put this beside like LA Story, which I think is in around the same time period. And it takes place in LA and they feel the exact same. So I really enjoyed it. How did you like it?
I must admit, it wasn't really my thing.
Really?
I watched it and I enjoyed it, but I would never consider watching it again. I was like, yeah, this is it. I think the only other Robert Altman film I've ever seen is Gosford Park. And I remember struggling with that, with all the overlapping dialogue. I am one of those people who wants to understand everything. So when you get, I don't really cope terribly well when you've got 3 conversations going on, because I'm thinking, what if something important is happening in one of them? And it probably isn't. That's why there's 3 conversations going on. But with Altman, you can never, there's some great stuff that happens in the background. And so despite me saying, I don't think I'll ever watch it again, I could watch it 40 more times just to listen to the different conversations that are happening.
Yep. And
But I find that a
I
bit of a struggle.
I appreciate the craftsmanship that went into this and the planning that had to go around certain things like the opening shot, which we'll get to in a second. Not just that, but other shots that include things happening outside the studio. He uses windows really well. And he makes fun of himself in his own movie, which I love. There's certain parts where he's like poking fun at his own stuff. So I just love lots of this. He does unexpected things, continue scenes when you think they're over. Like there's just a lot of cool stuff in here. I really loved it, actually. Thank you for suggesting this. I had a great time watching it.
I don't deny that this is a very well-made, well-scripted, well-produced film. Like, if I were reviewing this, so I used to review films, if I were reviewing it, I would give it a much better, I think, score than I do when I'm just watching it and going, is this really my thing? Mm-hmm. I liked so much about how it was made. It's just when it ended, I was like, okay, well, I'll just get on with my life. And there are other films I watch where I can't quite get on with my life yet, like Marcel the Shell with Shoes On.
Very true. I did think it was particularly relevant to the state of Hollywood now, and I will get into that a little bit later when we get into the actual story. But there are like certain parts of this, like you could make this movie happen now, and it would still be the same kind of thing. I think you could make it like with more modern jokes and more modern kind of little things. Like you could totally make it relevant because it's the same situation. Hollywood is in the same situation. It's always been in me. All right, let's get into the character. Starting with Tim Robbins, very tall Tim Robbins, and you notice it a lot in this movie, is Griffin Mill. Is it Greta Scacchi? I immediately forgot as soon as you told me. Greta, she has two difficult to pronounce names, Greta Scacchi as June Goodman's daughter. Moving on. Peter Gallagher is the one I'm struggling with. Really? I can't say any last names. Peter Gallagher as Larry Levy. God, my God. Fred West is Walter. Thank God he doesn't have a last name. And Cynthia.
He does, but I didn't put it in.
I don't care. Cynthia Stevenson as Bonnie Chereau. There we go. Got through mine. Thank you.
I'm so sorry. I feel like I gave you all the difficult people.
No, it's my bad not going through it. This is a classic error. I tell my students as I teach this stuff in where I teach. You got to go through a script ahead of time. You got to make sure you know how to pronounce all the names ahead of time. Write it down if you don't know. And I just was not prepared for this, so I apologize.
Literally 20 minutes before we started watching this, I went back through the film and made sure I had all the the pronunciations correct. And now I feel like all my work has gone to waste.
Well, take it away for the rest of the cast.
Okay, this is where I'm going to get them all horribly wrong now. Brian James as Joel Levinson, Whoopi Goldberg as Detective Susan Avery, Vincent D'Onofrio as David Kahane, Richard E. Grant as Tom Oakley, and Dean Stockwell as Andy Savella.
And he's back. Second appearance of Dean Stockwell on our podcast after Blue Velvet. Okay. I mean, should we just jump into the plot? Is there anything else we need to do to set this?
No, crack on.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. It's a TV star, and she goes on safari to Africa.
You're talking about a TV star in a motion picture?
No, not a real TV star. It would be played by a movie star.
A movie star playing a television star in a motion
Roberts
picture.
would be good. Dolly Parton Lily, would be good.
Right.
Dolly.
I like Goldie.
Goldie.
Okay.
Great, because we have a relationship, and that would be great. Goldie goes to Africa.
Goldie goes to Africa.
She becomes worshipped.
She's failed by this tribe.
Small people. But then she has
She's failed by this tribe, and they worship her. But then,
I see. It's kind of like a Gods Must Be Crazy, except the Coke bottle's now a television actress.
Yeah, it's exactly right. It's Out of Africa meets Pretty Woman.
Griffin Mill is a Hollywood producer handling an obscene number of pitches every day, and one disgruntled writer has been sending him threatening postcards. In the meantime, he is concerned that his job is about to be taken by Larry Levy, an up-and-coming producer from Fox. Mill decides that David Kahane is the postcard writer, and after a complication, Kahane is killed. And of course, this film opens with an 8-minute long tracking shot, unbroken, just brilliantly done. I know this is like one of those like classic shots. You hear about all the different shots that they do this, and they're talking about it in the shot. Like I love that part of this is like it's moving around. You got Fred Ward walking around with that guy. They're talking about other movies that have shots like this, and he's like, cut. Everyone wants to cut. No, we want to keep it. We want to keep the long shot, and so they're going like that, and it's basically moving around the studio, kind of introducing us to the studio and these different characters as they move around, and Griffin as he comes in, and it comes in, it stays on him the whole. Like I love that whole opening pitch, the first pitch of the day, and we're outside his office looking in for the entire thing, and I love it. It's just like he go and it's go through the whole pitch. So again, we get to know him and his situation, his job in like the first 8 minutes of this movie, and the death.
Doesn't he see like 3 pitches in that first 8 minutes?
Yeah, it's not like it because one of them's going as soon as he walks in the door, the guy's coming at him, right? There's a guy like saying he wants to pitch him something. Look at this guy's constantly being berated with movie pitches. Like he's just always because I think I get the feeling that at any minute, and this happens, I guess, at one point in the movie, he could say, all right, we're gonna do it. And he has the power to green light movies like that on his decision. Like they will go ahead, and then this writer's just made $1 million or whatever they're paying the writers for their scripts in this movie, overpaying them as Peter Gallagher says. But yeah, this again, I love the opening shot. I love the way this all sets it up. There's a couple of things that stood out to me here. Now that I didn't realize this was the name of the studio, but I immediately noticed the movies ! Now more than ever, and that's what makes me think this is relevant to today. I think because this is like I could see a studio having that name right now as movies are struggling in the theaters, right? And so they have to find a way to reinvent itself again, just like it did back then. And I love that the movie the pitch was The Graduate Part 2. It's what he did.
And that guy is the writer of The Graduate.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Oh, so I didn't realize that. That's even funnier. So he's already worked out the sequel to the movie that really shouldn't have a sequel. I don't think. It's just the worst idea ever.
But it does have a sequel.
Or does it?
Rumor has it.
What?
Which is the Jennifer Aniston film. I think that's
Is that what that is?
yeah.
Oh my God, I didn't know that. Rumor has it? Oh
Yeah,
my
I think
God.
she's the granddaughter or something.
Oh, so it doesn't follow the story that this guy's pitching. Like what occurs to me is he's pitching this story is like they would totally do this now. Like they just did The Devil's Wears Prada 2. That's just out in theaters this past weekend. And that's 20 years later. That's about the same. I mean, this would have been a little bit more than that after The Graduate. This is late 90s, so maybe 25 years after The Graduate, this guy's pitching the sequel. And Mrs. Robinson's grown up and they're all like, I don't know, he was pitched. I can't even remember the details of it. It's so crazy.
Oh, it was about the daughter. She was now at college. And
Yes. Oh, yes.
Anne Bancroft has had like a stroke or something. So she's living with Dustin Hoffman and, so like that married couple, they're still together and they have a kid. And so that whole thing is going on. But what I loved was, that's The Graduate too. I think Rumor Has It, just to clarify, Rumor Has It, I think, is about a woman where there is a rumor that The Graduate was based on her family. I think that's, so it's sort of, it's not direct, but it's very referencing.
I mean, this is like the most generic looking. This looks like every Jennifer Aniston movie ever. This poster of this movie, Rumor Has It, like
terrible poster.
It's Kevin Costner, Mark Ruffalo, and Shirley MacLaine. Okay, well maybe we'll watch that one too.
That's a great cast. I'm not sure it's a great film, but it's a great cast.
Right.
But yeah, so we have this like ongoing thing about like either remakes or sequels, or every film that's pitched to him. Like one of the second in office pitch we see during this 8-minute long shot is some two women pitching something to him, and they're like, it's Ghost but not Ghost, and that seems to come up a lot. It's this but not quite. It's that, like, you have to have a reference of a movie that's sold well to get them to pay attention to.
It's Ghost meets The Manchurian Candidate. It's Out of Africa meets Pretty Woman. Those are the two that I wrote down.
Yeah, these Pretty Woman, that's outrageous.
I love it, but it's so funny. But that is how they do it. That is absolutely how they do it, because you have to have a previous frame of reference, and it does help. It really does help to think of movies that way when you're pitching. We've had a conversation. I do another podcast with some friends called Super Pulp Science, and they talked about how that helps them come up with story ideas when they're kind of thinking about other things that they're familiar with, and then that's how we get a lot.
What strikes me is I know that a lot of conversations these days are how difficult it is to get something original made in Hollywood. Like, Hollywood is all MCU and films jumping off the back of other films and sequels and remakes and reboots and 43 different people playing Spider-Man and all that sort of stuff. And you're like, yeah, in 1992 it sounds like it was pretty much the same.
Exactly. This is the same situation, and it's like they're just having just a repeating cycle. It's an endless cycle in this thing. Okay, let's move on. So he goes to he's getting these postcards. And again, we get this set up in the first couple of minutes where you see the postcard coming in, and then you see him get it, and he's been like, I don't remember, at some point you can see he's got a few of them in his drawer. And it's like somebody, clearly a writer that he has said no to, or he hasn't gotten back to him. We see him blowing off people quite a bit. Again, because he gets so many pitches a day, he very easily blows people off. He doesn't feel bad about it. He's like, oh, I'll get back to you. No problem. I'll get back to you. And he never gets back to anybody. So this one very upset person has been like sending him threatening postcards for a while, I guess. It's been going on for a while. And so he's worried about that. And he's asking security. Oh yeah, no, he was asking security about the guy who approached him as he was coming in. He's like, how did that guy get on the lot? That kind of stuff. But then again, how does he get onto the thing about David Kahane again? I don't remember how he figures out he's the postcard writer.
Basically, he realizes that he needs to look through his diary. So he looks through all of the meetings that he's had, and then he looks through all the calls he hasn't returned, and the name that comes up over and over and over again is David Kahane.
Right, because he's been calling a lot, so he assumes he's also the same guy that's been sending him these postcards. So he goes out to Pasadena. No, first he calls, finds an address, goes to his house very creepily, and looks in his window and sees a woman, who he assumes is David Cahane's wife, and then calls her and has a very creepy conversation. I think it's creepy because he's looking through the window at her.
So creepy.
She doesn't know that. She's very nice. Like this, she's quite the character in this film. What's her name again?
She's very free with the information.
Yeah, and she's also very like in a perfect situation for him at this time to be the person she is. Like very conveniently, the person she's dating dies. Spoiler alert, we'll get to it. But and then she's immediately not upset about it and they move on. Like that kind of stuff happens a lot in this movie where she's just, okay, this is fine, and then they continue on. But basically he gets the information from her that this guy went to the see a movie, and it was The Bicycle Thief he went to see at the Rialto. So he goes there to see if he can figure out who he is. And
at which point they ruined the ending of The Bicycle Thief for me because I've never seen it.
Sorry, I'd seen it.
They literally show the last frames of the film.
Well, I mean, they show that. I mean, that's the point of the script. He comes in at the end, right? That was the whole point. That comes up later, right? So he almost trips over these legs that are stretching out to the aisle, like he's watching this. He's stretched back like this, watching the movie, and he moves his legs. And then as people are leaving, he's like, David Kahane. He's pretending to know these guys. This guy, and he's like, oh, I got the wrong guy. So he doesn't really know who he's looking for. And then he kind of figures it out. I think just by his look, it's what's his name? Vince D'Onofrio. And I think you just can figure out by his look that he's a writer.
Yeah, he gives writer. Also, there's only, it's brilliant. There's only about 6 people in the cinema, and yeah, so there's only like one other guy, and he assumes it's him because he's got a ponytail. That's very funny. But that is where we get another. He goes, "Oh yeah, I love that film. Maybe we'll remake it."
Great movie, huh? So refreshing to see something like this after all these cop movies and, you know, things we do. Maybe we'll do a remake of this.
You'd probably give it a happy ending.
No, we keep it pure.
Pure, right.
You want to write it?
It's a horrible idea. That's his first instinct, right? He just wants to turn it into money for his studio. And so they go, and so they have, he convinces them to go for a drink. He's trying to make up with this guy. His strategy, I guess, is to, I guess he wasn't really going to confront him. He wants to like calm him down and make him a deal, placate him so that he won't send any more threatening postcards. And he kind of says that at one point, but I don't think he hears them. But they go for drinks. They go to a karaoke bar and have some drinks to talk about whatever. And it doesn't go well. Right?
It does not. It goes the opposite of well, I would say. And yeah. Can I just say the second guy who was singing in that karaoke bar had a lovely voice.
I don't know. I feel like we're skipping over some parts. There's the scene with Burt Reynolds when he goes into I think it's in the section where he goes into the restaurant. A lot of this stuff happens over lunch meetings. So they're sitting this is again, just like Get Shorty is a good example of this as well, where they're sitting at lunch and there's Burt Reynolds talking to somebody. And I thought in that moment, like, it must suck to be Burt Reynolds having lunch in public because everybody's going to come up to him and say, hi, how's it going, Burt? And that's what's happening.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, it's bad enough, like, normal plebs come up to you who are like, oh, I'm such a big fan of your work. But when it's like a Hollywood player like Griffin, they, who are like, hey, it's so cringy and embarrassing how like you have to go and say hi to everyone, and oh my god, it made me feel so uncomfortable. It
happens a lot in the movie. They always have to say hi to somebody, acknowledge people. And then go ahead.
Just to say him going to it's a breakfast meeting, that one. And as he arrives, Larry Levy is leaving and he's going for a meeting with the head of the studio.
Yes.
And he's afraid that Larry Levy is taking his job. So to walk into a meeting that your rival is obviously walking out of is terrifying. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's his main motivation. He's afraid of losing his job, basically. And there's all kinds of rumor mills, and they're like tabloids are probably publishing stuff about how he's on the ropes. He's going to be out. I personally love the dual conversations. I love lots going on, lots to pay attention to. And so this is a good example of they start with Burt Reynolds and whoever he's talking to, and then they kind of zoom in on Griffin and is it who's he? Is it Levinson he's beating that scene? And so goes in on them and stays with them for a while, and then comes back out, and we're back with Burt Reynolds, and he's still going. And I'm like, did he just continue that conversation while they were doing the scene? Like he just kept going, they just kept talking. I love it. It's so brilliant. That kind of stuff happens a lot in this, where they just kind of blend this stuff together, and it all kind of really works really well.
Yeah, it's very. What I wrote down about the film in its entirety is it's so fluid. Yes. I love the fact that it was nominated for Best Editing, because the irony of that opening shot and the discussions that are happening during that opening shot and the film being nominated for Best Editing, I think is brilliant. But the feeling, the film breathes. It really does. And I think, like I said, I absolutely appreciate how it was made. It's too much for me.
That's okay. Okay, so then back to the meeting. They're meeting at the thing. I always call them by their actor names, and I should be calling them by their character names. I'm gonna try and get better at that. David gets upset and leaves, and he storms out of the bar. A couple minutes later, Griffin leaves as well. And it's like he kind of walks up, and he's got his Range Rover, and they make it very clear he has a Range Rover. It's very nice. But there's what's his name is peeing over in the alley there. David's he
literally just left a bar. Go in the bar, you gross man.
Well, he didn't think of it. He was angry. He was storming out of there. He had to make a point.
Storm to the toilets. I don't care. Do not piss in the street. It's gross. They don't, as women, get to do it. So I don't think it's fair that men do.
To do it. Nobody should, because you can't. Fair. Absolutely fair. Okay. So they get, and this is what I talk about Robert Altman. Like, you think the scene is done, and then it isn't, because then they get back into an argument, and they're back into it, and it's like, wow, this is like, I thought we were done here. I thought we were going to move on to another thing, and no, we're fighting, or they're arguing. They get into a scuffle. They get into an argument, or a physical scuffle. He really kind of grabs them and pushes them, and then I thought it wasn't made clear until his face was down in the water for a while, but he does indeed kill David Kahane in anger in this kind of weird scuffle with a little bit of water down there. I don't know if he drowns.
Yeah, you can drown in like an inch of water, whatever the statistic is. It's terrifying.
But is that what he does? He drowns? Is that what happens to him?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, he bashes his head into the puddle, so it might be that. But he also, I think, he holds him down on him, and maybe he drowns him. But you saying it's not clear whether he was dead. I assumed he was dead. But as Griffin's walking away, I don't think he thinks he's dead. And then he turns back around and he's like, oh shit.
Like, he's face down in the water. That guy's dead. Yes, that's right. Yeah, he doesn't realize it.
Yeah. And then he realizes he's got to kind of cover up his crime. So he like steals his watch, and there's a big handprint on the car window, on the driver's side, or the window of the door, and he put his hand on it. And so he breaks in the window. So he makes it look like a robbery gone wrong. Mm-hmm. Whilst also like putting his fingerprints on everything around it. Yeah. Like, not very smart. And then he leaves.
Yes.
The reason I called this segment The Dead Man is that's what June calls him when he rings. She goes, "Who's calling for David?" And he says, "Oh, it's Griffin Mill." And she goes, "Oh, the dead man." And he's like, "I'm sorry." She goes, "Yeah, that's what he calls you," which only confirms in Griffin's mind that David would be the guy sending the postcards.
Yeah.
Because he calls him the dead man. What else have I said? I like the line, "I don't write postcards, I write scripts." David shouts at him before he gets murdered.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it when you're watching a film and you go, "That's a bit weird," and then the character references it, and you're like, you feel so like smart or whatever. You get to be a little bit smug for a minute. And the only thing, when he goes to that breakfast meeting, he asks for some water because he always orders a different brand of water everywhere he goes, Griffin. And they put it in a wine glass. And I was like, why are they putting water in a wine glass? And he goes, this is a red wine glass. Can I have my water in a water glass? And I was like, yay, he's like me.
What I get from that is that he's very snobby and wants things a certain way. This whole movie is about like all these people are kind of out of touch because of how they live. They live in such luxury that, and everyone's serving them and bringing them their food and bringing them their cars, and like they're just so out of touch. I think that's the main message of this film, is that Hollywood is out of touch because of all the money that's going into it. So anyway,
they are also untouchable.
Exactly. Yes, that's right.
Let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually bought a ticket to see a movie? You actually paid your own money to see it?
Pasadena, The Bicycle Thief.
You went to see The Bicycle Thief?
I love that film. It's a great film.
Yeah, it's an art movie. It doesn't count. We're talking about movies.
Jesus, people.
But all I'm saying is I think there's a lot of time and money to be saved if we came up with these stories on our own.
Levy starts work at the studio, and Walter makes it clear that he knows what Griffin has done. Griffin goes to David's funeral, because that's what all murderers do, where he talks to June. Detectives arrive at his office, and he claims that he left David alive the night he was murdered. Griffin receives another postcard requesting a meeting in a hotel bar. Levy, the meeting that they're having, this is one of those great through the window shots. So Griffin is late for the meeting because he's recovering from killing someone, and everyone else is at the table, and you shoot past Levy and Bonnie are sitting together, and you shoot through them to Griffin arriving. And Levy at that point is everyone's blah, 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 blah. Everyone is chatting. Levy says, we're all too busy to go watch movies. You should try it sometime. Rub shoulders with the great unwashed. And I was like, it's a good point that you're probably too busy to go and see movies, but I don't like you referring to the people who pay your wages as the great unwatched. That's not good. When he's chatting with Walter, I think it is, he goes, oh, what did you do last night? And he went, oh, I went to the cinema in Pasadena. And I was like, you've immediately put yourself in the locale of where the guy died.
Yeah, but he is so reflexive. It's because Larry Levy's in the meeting and he's upset. Like, so he walks in and he realizes Larry's there. He's, oh my God. And so then he's criticizing everybody for, like, again, he's saying everyone's out of touch and everyone's like, no, they have. When's the last time he saw a movie? And he's like, The Bicycle Thief last night and the Alto. And he's like, it's an art movie, doesn't count. I'm talking about a movie.
Yeah. He does it in front of everybody. And I'm like, you're an idiot. But also he's seen the paper, like as they're passing the paper around to say, like, oh, you could make a film out of anything. And they hand the paper to Griffin and it just says, like, man found dead by Rialto Cinema. I was like, oh no. So he's very thrown off. The interesting thing when he goes to the funeral is that the guy making the speech at the funeral, the eulogy guy, Phil, is wearing the same outfit as David Kahane. He's wearing a red shirt and a brown sports jacket and blue jeans and glasses. He looks similar to David Kahane, which is indicative that perhaps there was a mix-up there. Because, and I don't know if you know this, I'm going to skip right to the end of the film here. I'm going to ruin everything.
Right.
Phil is the guy who's been sending the postcards.
Who?
The guy who makes the eulogy.
Is the guy who's been sending the postcards.
Is the guy who's been sending the postcards. We're meant to recognize his voice when he's on the phone. But apparently, Robert Altman, how disrespectful of me. Robert Altman confirmed that, yes, it was Phil. And the fact that he is dressed the same, he is an identical swap for David Kahane. And it's almost as though he's saying to us, if you had said that guy instead, he's killed the wrong guy. That's his guy. And I did not pick up on it at all until I read that in the trivia.
No, I was just I had one of my questions is who was writing the postcards, because I didn't get it at the end of the movie. Like, I really didn't understand that.
And also, I thought maybe we weren't meant to get it. Like, it didn't matter because of the ending.
It was June. I thought June was writing the postcards. I'm like, oh, maybe she's doing it, but no, she's not. Okay.
That never crossed my mind, but that would have been great. June is an artist, and I watched June be an artist, and every time she was like taking photos or like doing her artwork, I just went, I have no concept of what it is to be an artist. Like a physical hands-on. I'm a singer, I'm an actor, I've danced, all that sort of stuff. I get that. Even photography. But I cannot. And also, I love artists who like make things I can recognize, landscape artists and portrait artists and stuff. But she does this brilliant, esoteric, just her brain just bleeding out onto a canvas. And I just go, how does she know when she's finished? Which she says, like later on in the film, she goes, none of them are finished. I don't sell them. None of them are ever finished. And I just watched her like put talk on a page and go, does that make you happy? Like, it was so baffling to me. It's like, wow, I really learned something about myself here.
One of the things she said that I really liked in the scene was she says, I like words and letters. I'm not crazy about complete sentences. I think that was
exactly what I was about to quote. Yes.
That's
yes, I really enjoyed that. And I thought she was delightful, Greta Scacchi, in this.
Yeah. Great.
I love the fact that as an artist who works with her hands with different colors of blues and stuff, she's always wearing white. And there are bits of blue on her, but I would be a wreck if that were me. She's very well put together, that woman.
And she's very comfortable with herself. It's like, and this is kind of like, she's the perfect person for him to meet in this moment, because she does not feel any remorse or mourning for what's his name, because she didn't seem like she liked him very much, right? Really, like whenever she talks about him, she's just like, I didn't think he had much talent or whatever. Like, she's not really a big fan, and she's basically telling him she's ready to move on. And then she's like, can you give me a ride home? And so she's basically inviting her, but at the same time, she's like, she has her bounds. She sets boundaries with him. Later on, when Griffin does show up in the middle of the night and says he wants to make love with her, she's like, no. And she like sends him away. So there's like, she has a good sense of herself and where she wants to be. I think she's
very secure in herself. Yes, I enjoyed that. We later see Griffin in a screening, which is one of the great cameo moments, which is Scott Glenn,
yeah,
from Backdraft.
Hey.
And Lily Tomlinson. Yeah. Lily Tomlin?
Just Tomlin.
Terrible. It's because I didn't write those down. But they're like doing takes of a film, and she's, catching her dress on the, set and all that sort of stuff. And so they're in this screening room, and he gets one of the postcards. I think also as he's talking to Walter, and he thinks he's killed the guys who does the thing, he gets a fax from so he's like immediately knows that he's killed the wrong guy. But as he's sitting in the screening, he gets a postcard, and it's from Joe Gillis, and he doesn't know who Joe Gillis is. And I was like, I know who Joe Gillis is.
I didn't know who he is, but I think it's interesting how there are holes in his movie knowledge, and everybody, like all these people, like they all have like some knowledge of movies. Some of them are really good, but some of them are like, who's the villain in Ghostbusters? I don't know. Like some of them really know nothing about movies. So I think that's interesting. And he is what was he doing? I have this note here. Another fax threat, and he's got a fax in his car later on.
That blew my tiny little mind. I cannot. I actually squealed out loud at that moment. I was like,
that's another scene where okay, so what they're doing is they're watching like the dailies, right? So this is the shots from this film that they shot for the day. So all the producers are sitting around watching it, and they're shooting through a window, I can hear in the conversation someone's complaining about having to shoot through a window, and because you can't see what's going on because there's rain and stuff coming down the window. I'm like, that's what fucking Altman does. He does it all the time. He shoots through a window right there in the next scene or whatever. So again, he's poking fun at himself. I really love that he does that.
Yeah. I haven't mentioned the detectives coming, and of course that's Whoopi Goldberg, so that is absolutely brilliant. And her styling in this film is outstanding. The socks pulled up and the comfortable shoes and sliders, like it's very Whoopi Goldberg is.
I thought this is a fantastic performance from her. Like, she is so good just playing it straight as the detective who's like so sick of all this Hollywood bullshit. Like, she's so good in that. And I love, like, the first thing we see is her pick up the Oscar, and this is like just a couple years after she won the Oscar for Ghost. So they had to have planned that. I was like, oh, it's heavier than you think, right? She just did that. She just won an Oscar. So I love that little moment there. And honestly, through this whole thing, I can't help but think his story is such bullshit. Like, he went out in the middle of the not middle, but he went out at night to go talk to this guy because his story is that he finally figured out a way to end the movie, so he wanted to talk to him right away. He can't wait till the next day. Come on, that's just ridiculous. But he would, like, why would he want to go out there? Why wouldn't he say he thought this guy was sending him threatening postcards? Like, I don't understand why he wants to. Oh yeah, he says that to his secretary at some point. He says because he's on the rocks with the studio, right? If he calls the police and lets them know about the threats, the studio's going to want to get rid of him, so they don't have to deal with it, right? So he doesn't want to do that. That's why he doesn't want to call the cops. But I just think he's so guilty. He's so guilty, and he does not. His story is such bullshit. I don't like it at all.
And she knows instantly. Like, she clocks it.
Yeah.
She just drags it out and drags it out and drags. She's waiting for him to incriminate himself.
Yes. By the way, we saw Lyle Lovett was at the funeral, and he does pop in, and he turns out to be her partner. And I love Lyle Lovett in this film. He's so amazing.
Yeah, I was thinking that Lyle Lovett was obviously, that's who I thought was sending the postcards. And I was like, I recognize this guy. So I did a stupid thing. And I looked up the cast list on IMDb, and it listed him as a detective. And I was like, damn it! Spoil it for myself. But yeah, you see him like swatting flies outside, Griffin's window and stuff.
In the office, he's killing flies. There's another part where he's like, he's always trying to get him. He's just hates flies.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
And this is the film where he met Julia Roberts, and then they got married.
Are you serious? He would have been like, when would they have shared screen time?
Well, that's what I was thinking. They're like, there's no point where they would have crossed over.
Maybe they were like right, it was like shooting the same
or
day.
It was like a party afterwards to celebrate, the rap party or whatever. Yeah. But also, like, the meta-ness of this film just was so fun because, of course, you've got Whoopi Goldberg coming in and picking up the Oscar, which she won for Ghost, which they referenced earlier. So Ghost as a film exists in this universe, and yet Whoopi Goldberg is now a detective. Also, every time someone turned up, I did not know if they were going to be playing themselves or someone else. When we meet, and I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but when we meet Andie MacDowell, she is sitting opposite Richard E. Grant. I was like, oh, it's Andie MacDowell and Richard E. Grant. But Richard E. Grant is playing someone else. And I was like, is this a reflection of how famous he is? Did they not trust Andy to play someone else? How did they make those decisions?
Griffin Mill. Hi, Andy Savella.
Andy, how are you?
I've got Andy MacDowell sitting over here. You know her? She's hot. Come over and meet.
Still living in New York?
Huh? Oh, well, I couldn't live here. I'm allergic to happiness. This Andy's Griffin Mill. She's my namesake.
How the kids doing?
Yeah, great. She's the smart Andy, and I'm the pretty one.
Thank you.
And you geniuses know each other, Tom Oakley?
Of course we do.
Oh, yes. Hi, Tom.
Hi, how are you?
It's funny, I just ran into Malcolm McDowell out in the lobby.
Oh, really?
Dude, Roddy McDowell is related to a cousin of my brother-in-law.
Well, I'm not related to either one of them.
I think what happened was they cast the film. They had all the main parts that they cast, and then they had to decide, okay, we need a celebrity cameo here, we need a celebrity cameo here. Who wants to do it? And I think Robert Altman just cast out his network and said, who wants to be in this? Apparently, I read that they everybody who did a cameo on this donated their one-day fee to a charity. That was the deal, is that they all like show up, and most of them are in the big ballroom scene a little bit later, but they all like, that's why Andie MacDowell would be one of those where so it just happened to be these two actors who are very similar in age and in era of filmmaking. Like, they would have done a lot of movies together. Like,
also, they had just appeared in a film together.
Right. That's right.
They're both in Hudson Hawk. So Andie MacDowell is sitting opposite a guy she clearly knows who is playing someone else. And so but the suspension of disbelief. The suspension of disbelief is high in this film.
Yeah, well, you don't know, though. You really don't know. He runs into what's his name? Right before he goes in there, he runs into another McDowell.
Malcolm McDowell, which is why it's funny because then he meets Andy McDowell.
And then they talk about Roddy McDowell, and she's like, I'm not related to either of them. But Malcolm McDowell shakes him up because he says something. He's like, if you're gonna badmouth me, do it to my face or whatever. So clearly he had said something to somebody about Malcolm McDowell, and it got back to Malcolm McDowell, and he'd been like clearly stewing on his time. He finally gets to say it to him, but that shakes him as he goes into that bar, and he's going to the bar because he got a postcard to meet him there. But while he's there, he gets, again, it's Dean Stockwell and Richard E. Grant. I think Stockwell is his agent. Is that what we're meant to, or are they writing partners? I don't really understand.
See, I thought they might be writing partners, but then because Tom kept doing the pitch, I thought Andy might be something else. So you might be right. His agent. We're now on to the next bit. So do you want to read the little thing?
Sure. Piece of shit idea. At the bar, Griffin has pitched an idea by Tom and Andy, which he later hands off to Levy. On his way home, he finds a rattlesnake in his car. Griffin takes June to a star-studded gala while his girlfriend is out of town. Well, he sends his girlfriend out of town, basically.
Yeah.
Okay. So yes, we got Dean Stockwell, Richie Grant, and he's really stressed out because he's like trying to figure out who this guy is sending him postcards. He's ready to meet him. These guys won't leave him alone. Again, this guy's constantly being pitched things, and they're pitching him Habeas Corpus, which is this big prestigious movie. It's Oscar bait. I'm writing down, like, this is when Oscar bait started becoming a thing, when they're making, we're going to make a movie that everyone's going to love. It's going to win lots of awards and people are going to see it. And they name all these other movies that have done that and won Oscars and made tons of money. So they're trying to pitch them. And it's a great pitch. And he is into it. Like, he immediately goes into like work mode. And he's like, what about this? What about this? Does it have to be this? I can't remember what he says, but it's really cool. And so basically they're pitching him on the story. I don't even know what the story is, to be honest. I can't remember what the story of Habeas
Corpus. My God, I can tell you the story of that film.
Go ahead.
The story of Habeas Corpus is it's raining, it's night, there are candles, people with umbrellas, they look like Japanese lanterns, and it's a crowd of black women, and then a black woman steps out of the crowd as a limousine pulls in, and she and the person in the limo, cracked eyes, and Griffin is predicting it beat for beat.
Yes,
which either shows he is brilliant or it's so predictable. Anyway, so that is the guy, the woman who is in the road, that is the mother of a young black man who is about to be put to death. Got the death penalty, and the guy is the prosecuting attorney. So he gets put to death. Then he meets a woman, falls in love with her, but this woman's husband dies in a car accident, and they discover that the brakes had been tampered with, and so she gets done for his murder. She is put on death row. She is about to be executed, and then they find the guy alive, and it turns out he faked his own death, and the prosecuting guy is running to the jail to say, stop it, she can't die, but he is too late.
Too late when she died.
Habeas Corpus.
And you should mention that another part of this is that no stars in this. They just want no stars, just talent, is what they're saying. So no
very
big name.
Clearly, Tom wants no stars. Andy is immediately like Julia Roberts, Bruce Willis.
Sure, but I love that. Like, as soon as so they're sitting there, they're doing the pitch, and while this is happening, he gets a note, and the guy says, "I said come alone." So obviously, the guy showed up, saw these other people there with him, and said, "Oh, he's with people," and then sent the note.
And who did we see in the bar? Lyle Lovett.
Yes, that's right. Yes, who's been following him?
Whose photograph did he walk past on the wall? Alfred Hitchcock's. There are the film noir posters that are hanging in the office and around the studio, and all the stuff. It's brilliant.
The posters in this movie, I love all the movie. There's one scene where like he goes into his office and the posters are all about jail movies, like clearly jail movies, and he's talking to this is probably early in the film. He's talking to Fred Ward about what happened and where he was, and he's trying to. Fred Ward is the guy in charge of security of the studio, so he's trying to get the real story out of him so he can protect him basically. And he doesn't really want to tell him. But yeah, the posters are amazing. And so they pitch him, and so he says yes, basically. He says, come in tomorrow, and they'll pitch him the whole thing. He goes to leave. The rattlesnake in the car was freaky and was scary. And yeah, I don't like that part.
But to be fair, the rattlesnake in the car was not as surprising as the fax machine in the car.
Great. That's when he gets the fax. That's right. Sorry, I got off track there. Fax machine, look under your raincoat. And this is what he gets actually. He's like, he does that for a while, gets over to the side. He decides to take his shirt off. I'm like, just use the raincoat. You've got the raincoat. Use that if you're trying to cover, like put the raincoat on it, shove it away from you. But he's got his umbrella basically, and he goes, he basically beats it to death. Is that what he does? I don't know if it's actually dead. He's no Cool Hand Luke, I'll say. But or that guy from Cool Hand Luke that shoots him. But after that is when he goes to June's place, all like flustered and all like, you're scared of snakes, and he's like just totally out of it. And basically he tells her he wants to make love to her, and she's like, no, go away. You have to leave now because I'm gonna cry. She's like, I'm gonna start crying, so you have to leave now. And then she like kicks him out.
You know, we can't hurry things any more than we can stop them. I think you better go now. I think I'm going to cry now. Better go. Quick.
And she's like, take me on a proper date. Right? Which is fair. Like, fair, dude. You can't just show up there and expect her to put out. That's not gonna happen, right? This isn't Rocky. So what else? I'm referencing all the past
Bully her
movies.
into it, like in Rocky. Yeah, good for him. He did at least leave.
Okay, question for you. There's a point in this film where he's putting something on his tongue. What is that he's doing with his tongue?
I have no idea. I saw that and I was like, is it like an antacid or something? Has he got, terrible like acid reflux or something? Or is it a breath freshener? But I couldn't figure it out at all. No.
He was like really going hard. Like he gets into the conversation with a bunch of people there, and he's like it's like compulsive, whatever he's doing there. It's really, really upsetting. Yes, I love it. Always killing bugs. Oh yeah. Then they call him in for mug shots. Oh, they want to show mug shots. That's why they bring him in.
That's my bit. You're getting ahead.
Sorry. Did I get ahead of you?
How dare you? We've got to the gala is the end of yours.
I forgot to rate a thing there. Yes, they go to the gala. So he takes gala. I say gala, you say gala.
It's because I'm better than you.
This is where we have the conversation about they want to send Griffin to New York. New York's like, no, send what's her name, because he wants to get her out of town. So they take June to the gala. Now they
Excuse me, can we put some respect on Bonnie Charot's name here? She works very hard during this movie.
Sorry, I just couldn't see it during my talk here. All right, there she is. Okay. Yeah, and so he sends her out to New York for something, and he basically pitches it to her like, if you want a promotion, you should do this kind of stuff, which is a fair point, but he really is clearly trying to get rid of her. And she's starting to see something is up. Like, she's starting to notice he's like not as attentive. He's probably not calling her back or whatever. And it's kind of like distancing himself for her, which because he's already interested in June. Like, he's already on to June and he wants her, right? So he doesn't care about her anymore. Can
I make a couple of points about this section very quickly? I do enjoy when Andy is talking about the stars that they could get for this film. He says, somebody English, like, what's his name? Which is great. That's what I'd say. Like, like him from that thing. What's it? That's the age I am now. I enjoyed when Tom is doing the pitch over the phone to Larry. He stands up. He's like, hello, it's nice to meet you. And that is so adorable. Very English. The reason Griffin gives the film to Levy is because he calls it a piece of shit. And he says, this piece of shit idea will blow up in both of their faces, meaning him, Levy and Levinson, and then he'll have to step in and save the day. During the meeting, where Levy is like saying to Levinson, like, we should do this, Levinson says, oh, I don't want, it's got a sad ending. And he's like, loads of, love story and terms of endearment and Steel Magnolias. And I was like, Steel Magnolias doesn't have a sad ending. Like, it has something sad happens in it, but the ending is happy. It's hopeful. It's uplifting. I think he just stopped watching it when Shelby died. He was like, the funeral happens and then the rest of the film doesn't occur. So Yeah, that's me done for that bit. And now, yes.
Okay, let's talk about the gala for a second, because I clearly didn't write anything down about it. I'm like, we didn't talk about the gala. This is the big scene where this is where all the cameos are, with most of the cameos, I would say, because there are a lot of people. Like when I looked at the list at the end of the movie and the credits, I'm like, there are people in there I did not see. I don't remember seeing Gary Busey anywhere. I don't remember seeing Ray Walston. I don't know. I think Ray Walston was actually in the credits of Habeas Corpus at the end. I don't know if he was actually in the movie part that we saw of it, but there was a lot of names around there that I didn't remember seeing in that scene. But it's basically like, to take her on that for the first date is just to like impress the hell out of her, right? Because he is the one of the guests around. He's going up and making a speech about movies and and it's a good cause they're all donating to today and stuff. So he's just trying to impress the hell out of her so that he can have her, basically.
It is a black and white gala. Everyone, the invitation said you all have to wear black and white. So Cher turns up in red, which apparently is a color she famously doesn't wear in real life. I read that on IMDb, and everything on IMDb is 100% true. So yeah. The other thing that I read about that was that it was before extras were being paid, or they didn't have the sort of the way background artists work now. The servers at that gala were genuinely waiters and waitresses who had been hired to work as waiters and waitresses. They did not get a screen credit or paid for being in a film. They just got paid as waiters and waitresses, which is insane.
That's funny.
They just turned up to work, and then they were like a whole camera crew, and Cher's there, and Nick Nolte's over there, and these people from MASH are here. Oh my god!
I imagine that's not as unusual. In Los Angeles, they probably work those kinds of events all the time, right? They're just like, what's with all the cameras? Like, why are we shooting this? What is this going to be? When is this being released? That kind of stuff.
Yeah. Could somebody tell me what I'm in? What am I in today? I was in something else on Thursday. It's Saturday now. What are we in?
Yeah, so I didn't write anything about the gala. It was an impressive event, and they still don't have sex though. She's like, next time, I think that's what she says. She gives him a kiss though. She gives him a kiss and sends him on his way. So he's happy with that. He's fine with that.
Yeah, it's kind of a nothing burger. It's just a way of getting all those cameos in, and she gets it's just their first date. It doesn't seem like a really big deal. I
like that she's rejecting him. Like he's used to getting what he wants, right? He is used to getting hey, people give him stuff, bring him stuff all the time, and he figures this is gonna impress her. He's gonna get after taking her this thing. She's like, no, it's okay. See you later. And then I don't know if it's during this time or when they start planning the trip. He was like, we should go away together and we should take a trip or something like that. I don't remember when that happens, but
that is yes, this is when that happens.
Okay. I going off together.
Yeah, I think this is when they're standing at the door. He's like, "Hey, have you ever been to Mexico?" And I don't think at that point he's thinking about getting away from the cops. It's the next bit that he suddenly goes, "Oh, maybe leaving the country would be a good idea."
No, he wants to get her away and have a romantic weekend with her. He
wants to get his dick wet, and he's going to do it in Mexico. Griffin is called to the police station where they question his earlier story. He plans a foreign getaway with June, but the police show up at the airport, so he changes the plans. He appears in a police lineup, which does not go well for the detectives. And 1 year later, we find him as the studio head, living in a beautiful house with a very pregnant June. But the disgruntled writer has a new plan. ... But also very much not. He doesn't really, you'd think at that point, if he hears that guy's voice on the phone and he's like, oh my God, and he says this thing about, did you get my postcards? You would think that would be like, but nothing happens. There's no real threat to it. He's so secure in his position. It's fine.
As long as he gets away with it, that's the ending. That has to be the ending, he says on the phone with him, right? But we start this with a segment with Lyle Lovett sticking his arm out with his police badge to let us know that he's a cop. And so then he takes him in to look at mugshots, like in the movies, which I think is hilarious. Lyle Lovett, I think, might be my favorite part of this movie. He is so funny. And then so they take him in.
He's so brilliant.
But and so I mean, so is Whoopi Goldberg though. Like she is just, I just love her in this film. She's like, they walk in there and he starts to go, immediately goes into the big office in the corner of the police station. It's like, where's he going? No, that's my lieutenant's office. Come over and sit here at my desk, which is right here in the middle of the room, because we're all just people working in the show.
But the whole thing is to make him uncomfortable, and it's fantastic. It's to put him off kilter. The whole thing with the tampons is just women making men uncomfortable. Like, it's so brilliantly done that just in the middle of this conversation, she turns to her female colleague and is like, did you take my tampons? And she's like, why would I take your tampons? I don't use the same ones as you. And she's like, yeah, that's a very good point. And then she finds the tampons and she like takes it out and she's swinging it around her. It's so, but they're just there. Like, they know he did it.
Yeah.
And they're just there to like torture him before they drop all the final, like the mic drop, and they go, dun, dun, we knew it was you, and we made you look stupid. Because they're all laughing at him.
Yes.
You know, at the end of that scene.
That's when it gets kind of surreal. Like, this movie, there are moments where it gets like, what is going on? Then like, it kind of starts overlapping, and like, is he dreaming this? What's going on? And then we just cut to the next scene, and we never really find out how that scene ends. Like, they're all just laughing at him. That's a weird way to end the scene, but that's what you get sometimes with this director.
What were you wearing that night?
I was wearing a double-breasted suit, I believe.
Oh, it's all right. What's the matter, Mr. Moore? You're so jumpy. Sit down.
I'll get it.
No, that's what she's here for. It's all right. Have a seat.
Sorry.
No problem. Okay. Let me take a look at this gentleman. Where were they?
Right here.
She found them. Look. They're right. Oh, wait a minute. No. These aren't mine. These are Slender Regular. These are yours.
Yeah, I guess you have jumbo.
Well, I do use jumbo. These are not mine. God, just trying to help you out. Look, did you see this guy tonight?
I thought this was the point where the film was going to get like really weird because he'd lost it. I thought, you know, because he does that look directly down the camera. And I thought, therefore, I wrote down, he loses his mind at the police station. And I thought from then on, it was going to be like a bull rolling situation and everything was going to start going wrong for him. But it doesn't. It just goes wrong for everybody else.
That's why this is a non-Hollywood ending. That's the point. This movie does not have a Hollywood ending. It has a very atypical ending, right? So yes, this is the point we would typically see. And this is the funny thing about like the whole habeas corpus thing, because he is so convinced, he is predicting the beats because he knows that this is like so cliche and so like Hollywood that it's gonna fail. But does it?
But the point about habeas corpus and the ending, the original ending, that Tom really is desperate to use. It's meant to be, because he's like, black people get killed on death row all the time. This is a film about it happening to a white woman so that people will pay attention, because this is real. This happens. And it's so important to him at this point. The other thing is, in a conversation with June, if you don't suffer, maybe it wasn't really a crime at all. She talks to Griffin about how Hollywood is obsessed with people getting their comeuppance and stuff. Yeah. So both of these ideas, and then of course the twist is they change the ending of habeas corpus. Bonnie is so upset about it. I am with Bonnie. She's like, you sold it out. And he's like, well, it didn't test well, so we reshot it. And the line at the end is, it's Bruce Willis and it's Julia Roberts, like they said at the beginning, because they're the names that come up for every film. They are obviously the big stars of the moment. It's Julia Roberts and Bruce Willis, and you think she's dead, but it turns out she's not, and he rescues her, and she just says, what took you so long? Or like, you're late, or whatever it is. And he says, traffic was a bitch. I would be, if I watched that film, if you take a sad ending away from me, and I thought I was going to get a sad ending, and you put an upbeat, I am never madder. I have never been madder than when I watched a film called Rust and Bone, and there was so clearly a sad ending coming up, and they changed the ending because it's based on a book, and the book does have a sad ending, and they changed it because the director was like, I couldn't do that. I've got a kid. I didn't want this to happen, and I was like, you coward! I was so mad at him. So the idea of your habeas corpus in the end having a happy ending and it being so pithy. Oh my God, I was so physically angry about it. And then he drives home, turns up and sees June, very pregnant June. He's been on this phone call with this guy who's been threatening him this whole time. He's got away with everything. And she says, "You're late." And he goes, "Traffic was a bitch." It's the same line. It's the habeas corpus ending. The ending has been changed so that he comes out well. Oh my God, that is brilliant.
I want to take us back a little bit because there's this part where we so he plans to go to June, but the police show up at the airport, so he changes their plans. When they go to the airport and he's there, I just want to give a brief shout out to Canadian Airlines. Rest in peace, Canadian Airlines. That's the plane in the background as they're like deciding to go. It's one of those brands that I saw a lot as a kid because it's an airline that was it was one of the main airlines when I was a kid, and then it shut down. Got absorbed, I think, by Air Canada, which is the only airline. We have a couple other ones, but Air Canada is like our main airline now. And Canadian Airlines, yeah. Remember those guys? I just kind of felt that. And then he takes her to like the sexy time resort, basically. Like, this is a place where you go to get it on.
What it is.
Yeah. Get it on. Like, this is his last resort. He's taken women here before, right? You know it. He's like this is his like Hail Mary.
And they know him there. The usual. Yes. He's got a usual villa, the Capone villa, and they call him Mr. M, which is the film poster we just saw, which is, of course, about a murder.
Yeah. So then they go and they have a lovely dinner, and then they finally have sex, but we only, it's brilliantly shot, really, because you only see from their heads up. We don't see anything else. The whole sex scene is just them, and it kind of goes in closer and closer. And honestly, in this moment, all I could look at is their nostrils. Because there's a line earlier in the movie where they're quoting part of, she's reading it. So they're in the hot tub. He's in the hot tub with Bonnie Chereau. And she's reading the script, and the script is talking about a love scene going on on the buckboard of a wagon. And then they're focusing on the horse's nostrils. And so in that scene, we're watching the only love scene in this movie, and it's really tight on their faces. I'm just looking at their nostrils. That's all.
Yeah. Greta Scacchi apparently just refused to do a nude scene. She'd done them in other films before, but she was just like, "I'm done with that. Stop making me take my clothes off." The other thing that's fun about that is, of course, the conversation when they're pitching habeas corpus to Levinson. He goes, "There'll be a sex scene, right? Because I'm not watching this whole film about jails and people dying without some sex. And this is a film about jails and people dying, and it's, got to have a sex scene."
Yeah.
And the most upsetting thing around, I'm going to read this to you now. It's so upsetting to me. Cynthia Stevenson does do a nude scene, and it was her first ever nude scene. And it says here, this is in the trivia section of IMDb. Cynthia Stevenson's only career nude scene. Director Robert Altman said he cast her because she didn't look like a Hollywood glamour actress. And she said she was great about it. This is Altman talking now. She said, "Why me? No one's ever asked me to be nude before." I said, "That's the reason. That's why you didn't see Greta Scacchi naked." Paul Newman's comment was, "You don't get to see the tits you want to see, and you get to see the ones you don't want to see." And that was it. It was all about movies and people's expectations of movies. Imagine you are Cynthia Stevenson. This is your second ever movie. It's with Robert Altman. He asks you to do a nude scene. You do a nude scene. And then you find out that Paul Newman described you as the tits no one wants to see. It's absolutely disgusting. It's something I would never recover from, I have to admit. What a gross thing to say. Oh, that was the point. It was the tits you didn't want to see. Paul Newman massively down in my... I know nothing about Paul Newman, but I don't like him now.
Well, he was of a different generation, right? So he spoke his mind. I'm sure that he felt he could say that, and it was not...
he obviously felt he could say it. This isn't him being directly quoted. This is Robert Altman saying that that's what Paul Newman said. But still,
we should know that Tim Robbins also has a nude scene. Tim Robbins has to get out of a soil bath or whatever the hell that is, and we see the full Robbins, and but it just was so ridiculous. This is when they call him back in. He has to go back into the station for the police lineup, and he's just sitting there like with his stupid face mask on and covered in dirt at this ridiculous spa. And he's got to go in there.
And everything is so white, like the chair he sits on is white, and the phone is cream, and his towel is white, and he's just trailing mud everywhere.
Yeah.
He talks to June, and this is the thing about we can only say yes 12 times a year. He talks about how they get 50,000 pitches, and they can only say yes to 12, and that sort of blew my mind a little bit, because the idea of, did they only make, like, does a film studio only make 12 films every year? Do they only do one a month?
Depends on which studio it is, honestly. Like a studio some do less. I think that's a regular mid-level studio. It's like, have you seen The Studio, which is the Seth Rogen series? That's really good, actually, and that's the same kind of idea. It's the same type of a situation. Probably inspired by this movie, I would say, in a lot of ways. They do also do a lot of little tracking shots in that series. So I think that probably The Studio is his homage to The Player. In a lot of
I think I did read that, like, it does reference it. But yeah, they also, when they are making love, it's like he's going to confess to her, and I was just going, "Don't tell her during sex. Don't tell her this during sex."
Stop! Please stop! I'm like, dude, just listen to her and don't tell her anything. What is it gonna get you off to confess your murder to her? While, like, that's so weird. Such a weird thing.
I mean, he definitely does feel guilty about it. But she said to him earlier, and we find out at the end, if you don't suffer, maybe it wasn't really a crime at all. So in the end, because he hasn't suffered, it's not a crime. That's how it works. Right. It wasn't a crime. He finds out on that phone call, not only does he need to go back to do a lineup, but also that Levinson is out. The studio head has been sacked. And the reason the studio head has been sacked is because Reggie went home with the clap or something. Reggie is a very minor character who we meet at the beginning of the film, who is the son of somebody important, who is basically sitting in Levinson's studio, looking at headshots of hot actresses and going, "Can I call her? Can I call her? Can I call?" And they're like, "Look, Meg Ryan's married," and he's like, "Damn, okay, what about this one? What about this one?" He just wants to date actresses. And then Levinson gets ousted because he caught the clap. And it's such a throwaway moment, but it's so brilliant. Yeah. So we now know that Levinson's position is open. He goes to do the lineup, and they have some disability representation, which I love, because his lawyer is a wheelchair user. And he's in the lineup, and the detective, Lyle Lovett, is also in the lineup. And the woman is immediately, they're like, she's a brilliant witness. She saw him from across the street. She's got an apartment across the road from where the murder happened. She saw everything. She's so confident. And then she's like, like with a very like, she's obviously won't be able to spot him. And she picks out the detective. And that was their whole case. So they've dragged this out for so long, being so secure in the knowledge that they're going to get him, and then they don't get, and he walks out a free man, and they're all just standing looking through a window. It's another window shot, just staring at him as he walks away. So
and there's no wheelchair ramp on the way out. But how did he get in the building? How did he get in the building is my question. If there's no wheelchair ramp, maybe a different entrance. We'll never know. But
yeah, he went in through the back. Quite often, you as a wheelchair user, you have to go in through like the service entrance, because there's a ramp there for the people making deliveries. Yes, that's right. So you probably came in that way. But his client got off. He wants to exit through the front with celebratory vibes, and he can't leave.
I don't know who got to that witness, but you sure wrapped up my case picking that cop. You're a lucky man, Mr. Mill. God damn it, no ramp again.
Witnesses can't be relied on. Remember, witness with the prosecution, Marlene Dietrich and Tyrone Power?
That's it, you freeze a bird. No witness, no crime.
Yeah, that Avery woman thinks you just got away with murder.
Everybody does, Mr. Mill.
From there, we go into the final habeas corpus, because it's 1 year later and they're shooting habeas corpus. Oh, they're watching it. Are they watching they're in the theater
watching it, yes. Yeah. They're watching with the new ending. They're doing a screening of it.
Yeah, that's right. So we get to see, Julia Roberts. What I love about this scene is that if you think about it at the time for who Julia Roberts was and who Bruce Willis was, 1992, this is like such a send up of Hollywood. This is the exact kind of stuff they were doing. Like, when did Julia Roberts do the Pelican Brief? After this movie? Because that's kind of, I don't know, she's not a mother or whatever, dying or whatever, but it's a lawyer movie. And then Bruce Willis.
Also, she's in the film that they reference with the sad ending that isn't a sad ending. She's the one that is the sad ending in Steel Magnolias.
Right, yes, you're right. She's in the movie. So, and then Bruce Willis, like that whole traffic was a bitch. That is such a Bruce Willis line. Like, you could take that out of any of his movies and it would be perfect. So I just love that, the complete send up. And then when they go back to Tom, the writer, who is like so desperately defending at the back at the first pitch as Griffin's walking out, and he's already like making the arguments for no stars. He's like, he doesn't want any stars, and then the ending change and all that stuff, and she's, what's her name's like confronting him. He's like,
what's her name? Her name is Bonnie.
Oh, Bonnie Sherrill, sorry. Bonnie Sherrill, Cynthia, confronts him and said, what happened to the ending? He's like, did you see how it tested in this market? It's much better this way, or something like that. He's bought in now. They're all kind of bought in to the system of like, okay, we're all making a good movie. And I think this is what happens in Hollywood. This is the key thing that happens with these films, is you get a group of people who all agree it's good because they really want to be making a good movie here, right? But they're still making choices based on their own personal preferences, which is not a good way to make a movie, right? They're deciding they want a sex scene because they're going to be bored of the prison scene. Well, that's not a good choice to make for a movie, right? Yeah. They're the ones ruining it. They don't realize that they're the ones ruining it.
Also, when they say it tested badly, do they mean that people wrote on their little forms, I didn't like the ending? Because not liking the ending, like as in the ending was sad and made me feel sad and therefore I didn't like it because I was sad, is not the same as I didn't like it because it was terrible.
Yeah.
Have they just misinterpreted everybody?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like maybe they want, again, that's another thing that comes up in this film, sad endings versus happy endings. Studios tend to go with the happy ending because that's what more people want. I don't think that's true necessarily, but it is what we get a lot of the time in these films. And it's because they ask people really weirdly worded questions like that, I guess.
Yeah. I just want to go back, the best Whoopi Goldberg line in the film, when the lady picks out Lyle Lovett in the lineup, she says, I would bet on my mother's life, on my mother's life, that is the guy I saw. Yeah. Whoopi Goldberg turns to her and says, Ma'am, where is your mother buried? where the fuck is your mother buried? She says to her.
Yes, but she does not forget. That's so funny. She's very upset.
Absolutely brilliant. Yeah. And then, yes, he gets away with everything. That's the end. And then as the credits rolled, I looked away for a brief second. I was writing some notes. And I looked up and I missed the bit that said as themselves, which is all the cameos. Not the ones in Habeas Corpus, right, but the other ones, like Cher and whatever. All the cameos are listed, but they've just put them in a clump. So I missed as themselves, and I looked up and it went Cher, Nick Nolte, and I thought they were saying that Cher had played Nick Nolte, and I was momentarily very confused.
That's funny. That's hilarious. I appreciate that they put all those names up there. I didn't see, there's a lot of names there. I didn't see Gary Busey is in this somewhere. I didn't remember seeing it. He must have been in that gala somewhere.
Yeah, no, I think he's there I think I read that he's there earlier because I saw someone at the gala and I was like, is that Gary Busey? But it was Nick Nolte. I often kind of get them confused. And they're just craggy looking white men. How am I meant to tell? And other people shot cameos and I didn't see if they were in the credits because sometimes they put them in even if the thing got cut, because like Patrick Swayze shot a cameo and all sorts of other people, and then they didn't even make it in. How embarrassing.
Because I'm watching that scene where the ballroom scene, and it's like, is that Jack Lemmon playing the piano? And I'm like, it is Jack Lemmon playing the piano because Jack Lemmon is in this movie. So
oh my god. Yeah, because also, like, we see Angelica Houston and John Cusack having, a meeting with Larry Levy the first time Griffin goes out to lunch with his colleagues. Gary Busey might be there in that, there are just people around, and they don't talk, or you don't see them, they're not featured. But there are, like, Nick Nolte is literally a blink and you'll miss it. He walks into a room and he's just in the background amongst all the other heads.
Elliot Gould, yes. Robert Wagner, it says. I don't remember seeing him. Kathy Ireland. I do remember seeing Kathy Ireland. So yeah, it's.
I liked the Marley Matlin one. Some more good disability representation. That was great. This film is good for disability representation.
It's a really well-made film. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
So
I have enjoyed talking about it so much, and I really do appreciate it. I was just slightly bored as I was watching it, so I gave it a 3 out of 5.
okay, I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 5. I really had a good time watching it. I will watch it again. I'm gonna buy it on DVD. I think it's so like you could watch this in context of today's Hollywood, and it would be the exact same thing. Like they're just so out of touch. They don't know what they're doing. They're making all these crappy movies, and meanwhile, there's a bunch of people like trying to get in. They're the gatekeepers of this like huge, although maybe not as big as it once was, right? Because Hollywood is struggling, and the people are not going to the theater, so it doesn't have the power that it once did. So maybe it doesn't exist quite in the same way, but I do think they're out of touch.
Yeah.
Anyway,
And we have gone completely over time. We have not done well with this, but there's too much to talk about.
Well, I don't know that that's true. It's okay. I'll make it work. Don't worry about it. I want to now
you can put out that whole Paul Newman thing if you don't want to put it in there because it's too depressing.
You've given me so many choices as far as the next movie. And I was like, I'm not gonna go through all these names and look at all their movies and figure out like which one I want to see the most. I'm like, okay, who stands out to me as an actor that I can jump off of that might be fun? And I chose Brian James. Is it Brian James? Right? Brian, Brion James, as Joel Edison says. He plays a studio head. He's very tan in this, over tanned. I think he's making an effort to try and differentiate himself from other roles because he is that guy you see in that movie in so many movies.
Do you mean like in the remake of DOA that he references? They talk about Fred
Is that right?
Walter says, like, do you remember that film DOA? And he goes, oh, this one with these people in it. Didn't they remake that? Yeah, you were in it.
That's awesome. Love it. Okay, so he was the kind of my basis. Okay, let's see what he's done. And I was scrolling through his movies and realized, oh, he's in this movie, which is also a film that another actor who's in this is in. So we've got 2 actors from The Player in this next film. Because I mean that's not a surprise really because of all the actors that are in this, but I just haven't seen this movie in so long. It's one of my favorite films. I want to watch The Fifth Element.
Oh, I've never seen it.
Okay, so Fifth Element has Brian James and Bruce Willis, and maybe some more. I don't know who else is in that movie, but it's a fantastic film. I love it. I saw it in the theater back when it first came out, and I've just been like I watch it at least every couple of years. So yeah, it'll be a lot of fun.
Oh, brilliant! Yes, that's a great call. Thank you very much. Looking forward to that one.
That's going to do it for this episode of Transatlantic Watch Party. Thank you so much for joining us. Until next time, keep watching movies.